Being said, man, I'm gonna kind of go through the article here, because this is a lengthy article, and I didn't really want to press for time that long. But let's look at this one here. This is from Blacklisted News. This one here is from the People's Voice, which are both credible sources. Okay, and both of them are pretty long, so we're not gonna read the entire thing. But it says several top banks in America have warned of the imminent collapse of the U.S. dollar. That the imminent collapse of the U.S. dollar will make way for the creation of the CBDC, which stands for Central Bank Digital Currency System, that will allow the elite to track and control what Americans purchase, because this thing is all about control. Okay, Meyer Amschel Bauer, he said, give me control of the people's money, and I don't care who writes his laws. Okay, meaning that they want control of the money because the Rothschilds or the Red Shield, they started off as being lenders, peasants. And then they took over the banking markets and they started selling lands for high prices, but yet they'll buy the land up for cheap and they'll sell it back to you for accelerated price, if that make any sense, which is usury. It says InfoWarsReport.com reports world reserve status allowing for amazing latitude in terms of monetary policy. The Federal Reserve understands that there is constant demand for dollars overseas as a means to more easily import and export goods. It says the petrodollars, or the dollar's petro status, which the dollar is being backed by the U.S. military, okay? All that petro stuff, that's nonsense. But it says the dollar's petro status also makes it essential for trading oil globally, which means that the central bank of the U.S. have been able to create a fiat currency from thin air to a far higher degree than any other central bank on the planet, while avoiding immediate effects of hyperinflation. It says much of that cash, as well as the dollar denominated debt, physical and digital, ends up in the coffers for foreign central banks, international banks, and investment firms, where it is held as a hedge or used to adjust the exchange rates of other currencies for trade advantage. As much as one half of the value of all U.S. currency is estimated to be circulating abroad. But world reserve status, along with various debt instruments, allow the U.S. government and the Feds to create tens of trillions of dollars of new currency after the 2008 credit crash, all while keeping inflation under control, sort of. Okay, and you have what they call QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4, which allows them to borrow money from the Fed at a next to nothing interest rate, meaning that rates won't go up. But now, since QE4 is pretty much ran out, this is the reason for your inflation, soon to be hyperinflation. Okay, sooner than later, a loaf of bread is going to run your ass $200, and people are going to really bug out. But it says the problem is that this system of storing dollars overseas only lasts so long, and eventually the consequences of overprinting come home to roost. And the apostles always taught us that. They said that eventually that money that they have in circulation, eventually those dollars are going to wash back here up to America, and then shit is going to go up. Because believe it or not, you can have the US dollar to remain the world's reserve currency, but when nobody is using it, it could be the world's reserve currency all at once. But once hyperinflation sets in, it don't matter. You can be the world reserve currency with the inflated dollar, But it says, but the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 established a framework for the rise of the U.S. dollar, and while the benefits are obvious, especially for the banks, there are numerous costs involved. Okay, it says think of world reserve status as a deal with the devil. You get the fame, you get the future, you get the hot girlfriend and a sweet car. But one day the devil is coming to collect, and when he does, he's going to take everything, including your soul, which is why we tell these stupid ass celebrities when they sell out, he's going to collect. But unfortunately, I suspect that the time is coming soon for the U.S., and it may be in the form of a brand new Bretton Woods-like system that removes the dollar as world reserve and replaces it with a new digital basket structure. And this is the reason for the social credit systems. This is why they're getting digital systems up and running, because they know that they're getting ready to pull the plug on this dollar. But it says global banks are essentially admitting the plan for a complete overhaul of the dollar-based financial world and creation of the CBDC-centric systems built on unified ledgers. Okay, or there have been three recent developments, all announced in succession, that suggest that the dollar's replacement is imminent before this decade is over. And what we're 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's roughly 6 years. Okay, certain analysts are predicting that the U.S. ain't gonna go past 2025 when it comes to this currency. We just have to wait and see, man, because America is behind an 8 ball when it comes to setting up the digital infrastructure. Okay, which this money is fiat, it's not real. Okay, this is a fiat currency. This is an uncertain rich. Okay, and the spirit of the Lord is putting a plug on this place, man. You see. So anyway, and it's all oppression at the end of the day. You know, it's all oppressive tactics. It's all oppressive means, and none of them is really real. All right. So matter of fact, let's look here. Uncertain riches. That's in Timothy, I believe. And we'll come back to this Genesis. But this is 1 Timothy 6:17. It says here, and charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches. Okay, and uncertain riches, that U.S. dollar. Okay, that fiat currency that's not being backed by nothing. But it says, but in the living power, which giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Okay, but uncertain riches being the U.S. dollar, because everybody's complaining about it. This is why you have BRICS nations. This is why you have the OPEC nations. You know, and this is why the BRICS nations are trying hard to get their currency up abroad, because they don't want to deal with the U.S. dollar, because they know that the U.S. dollar is going to topple global markets, man. And when that falls, you better believe that chaos will follow. Okay, if Europe goes under, America goes under, there will be rioting in the streets overnight. Okay, because people, they're going to want their money. So let's go from here to the book of James, the 5th chapter, because this is all a play-by-play step by the elites, formulated by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai on the left-hand side. But it says misuse of riches. James 5:1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that should come upon you. Okay, and the rich man is talking about the elites of the society. Your riches are corrupted, that U.S. dollar, that debt note, and your garments are moth-eaten, and your gold and silver is cankered. And when you think of canker, you think of like a sore or weathered. Like they have a cancerous sore, which is called a canker sore, and it's very painful. But it says, and the rust of them should be a witness against you, and should eat your flesh as it were fire. It reads, you have heaped treasure together for the last days. Okay, and this is why they're stocking up all this gold, you know, the silver, the jewels, the rubies. I believe like a freaking ounce of gold is damn near 3 bands now, you know. But a couple of months ago, you would get a decent ounce of gold for roughly $1,800. An ounce of silver, roughly what? I want to say like $25, if I'm not mistaken. But now, shit, with an ounce of silver, hold up, I think it was roughly like $25 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you got those silver dollars, you know, you can count that. But now, shit, gold is damn near $3,000 an ounce. Last time we looked it up, but I can double check it too, just to be on the safe side, because I know that these markets fluctuate. Okay, so we're gonna look up what, come on, is the current price on an ounce of gold. Oh, $2,300. Okay, but just a couple months ago, it was like roughly $1,800. And when gold goes up, because everybody is buying it, then that's how you know that the markets are getting ready to collapse. Okay, now let's look up silver. Oh, ounce of silver price. 1 ounce of silver. So that roughly went up to, okay, still $26.72. So silver didn't really increase that much, but a kilo, or a silver price per kilo, which is like a bar, is $859. $859. All right. But this is real money here. You know, this is real money. So let's look up a kilo of gold price. That's gonna cost some money. God damn. Gold price per gram. Gold price per kilo, $74,039. Gold price per ounce, $2,300. If you want to buy a gram of gold, that's $79.04. Look up a gram of gold. And that's just like a small shekel, like a small spectacle of gold, like a little nugget. Yeah, so it's safe to say that these markets, they're getting ready to pull a plug on this shit. And finally, you know. So going back to this article here, it says new report over 98% of world central banks gearing up for new system of programmable, trackable digital cash, which will be in the form of the MOTB. 24 nations will have live CBDCs by 2030, meaning that this thing is coming soon. Okay, so it says this era or the era of cash money is nearing its end, and with it to come the end of privacy. It says the WEF claims in a new report that 98% of the world's central banks have agreed to implement the globalist long-awaited dream of a cashless society. Most banks, such as the U.S. Federal Reserve, are quasi-government institutions owned privately by billionaire bankers. Yeah, and this is the shit that they're trying to stop us from saying. You know, when you say, oh, well, you say the JOOs own the banks and the media, you can't say that because that's considered. And how the hell is that anti-S when you just saying that they own the banks? Like, how the hell is that anti-anything? You just bringing out stating facts, you know. But it says, in the you know who is not the first to reveal plans of the globalist elite, which have been preparing for years to eliminate paper fiat currencies. But this latest report indicates the grand plan is now very close to being realized, but perhaps just awaiting a triggering event, a black swan event of some type before making a switch to digital cash, meaning they're going to have a false flag attack, okay, to scare the people into subjection. You know, collapse the money system, collapse the dollar, you know, make the dollar collapse, and that'll be a black swan event. Chaos, you know, you can't get money, looting, robbing, murder. And that would be the catalyst that broke the straw's back, so to speak, or the camel that broke, or the straw that broke the camel's back. Salak. But regardless of that, that will be what they can use to bring in an MOTB. I always felt like they was gonna bring in a dollar collapse and panic and chaos to the streets, and then eventually people will, you know, kind of calm down when they institute the MOTB. But it says, as first reported by Slate News, the latest revelation was made in an 83-page white paper from the WEF, which declares that nations around the world will soon be ready to adopt a central bank digital currency, or a CBDC, in the place of traditional money. And reporters have come out that that's something that goes under the skin. It says in the report, hold up, did I read that? Yep. It says in a report titled Modernizing Financial Markets with Wholesale Central Bank Digital Currencies, the WEF asserts that the CBDC will replace all forms of money to serve as a single global digital currency system. And this is what the other nations want to get away from. But at the same time, they're launching their digital currency as well, because everybody wants to be the top reserve, or everybody wants to be the big man on the block. It's not the fact that Russia is opposing a tracking system. They just don't want to be under America's jurisdiction, which you can't blame them, because who wants to be in subjection to a bunch of demons, which the Russians are demons too, all you devils. But it says the reports estimate or states that over 98% of the global economy's central banks are researching, experimenting, piloting, or deploying central bank digital currencies to determine how to modernize the capabilities of and improve access to central bank money, which is CEBM. And with this backdrop, in a recent survey finding that there could be 24 live CBDCs by 2030. But the importance of clarifying the role of the CEBM in wholesale CBDC and the next generation of wholesale financial markets is an underscore. It says, it makes sense that when the petrodollar collapses, all paper currencies pegged to it will fall like dominoes. And that's what I said. Once the dollar goes down, every other economy, you're going to have a global collapse, because this is the world's reserve currency. Okay, and it will plunge all these other nations into chaos, which will be an emergency order to bring in an MOTB, which can be in the form of the CBDCs. It says all paper currencies pegged to it will fall like dominoes. It says this collapse has already been pre-designed, but the only question is whether it will continue to unfold gradually, or if it will take place suddenly in the wake of a catastrophic cyber attack or some black swan event. It says the you-know-who founder and director, Cotton Swab, is on record predicting that a devastating cyber attack that will shut down nearly all communications, transportation, and financial transactions for an extended period. And noticing they've been experimenting with these cyber attacks from banks to highway signs to medical records and to, hacking people's account. They've already been experimenting with it, man. Okay. So there we go. And I'm gonna read a little bit more and we're gonna get more precepts. But it says there was also this warning from 5 years ago of the CEO of Charles Schwab. What are the chances there's no relation? That the end of the fiat currency has been hinted at for many years, with perhaps the most clear indication coming from the Economist in March 2022, when she addressed the world's governments summit and said, and I'll boldly say, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. It says, and the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having an almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity on what's going on, meaning they want control. Okay, digital cash is not cash at all. And they pretty much go into it. All right, which we can just end it there. But these articles are very informative, man. And I can link both of them in the description in case brothers want to take a look into it. Because, Jake's attention span is real slow. It's real short. But anyway, verses 4, it says, behold, the hires of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, cried, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, which that's the Lord of the armies, man. So, hey, this fraudulent system is getting ready to fall because it's predicated on usury, taxing and death, And the minute that this falls, the minute that the MOTB is instituted, that's when Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to speed up the prophecies and we're going to be out of here. Okay. But it says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and you've been one time, and ye have nourished your hearts as in the days of slaughter. Ye have condemned, and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. So therefore be patient, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruits of the earth, and have long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain. Okay, so that's the point. Verse 8, be also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of Yahweh draweth near. So right there tells us that our Lord, man, is near. Okay, things are getting ready to escalate. They're speeding up. The money is falling as it did in Egypt, and they want to come up with a digital currency because the dollar is weak. Okay, Genesis 47, and I'm going to start at verses 13. Because the collapse of the markets will lead into famine, pestilence, robbery, looting, okay, insurrections, martial law, FEMA camps. All this is a domino effect, which will trickle, which event sets up the next event. Because with this, the FEMA camps come into place. Okay, so verses Genesis 47 and 13, it says, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by the reason of famine. And why was it a famine? Because the money failed. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, and the corn which they brought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money faileth in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in the presence? For the money faileth. So it went back to like a bartering system, which you got preppers and what you call these guys, whistleblowers that's talking about going back into bartering systems. And, a lot of them are getting, some of them, you have what they call a whistleblower protection program. Because a lot of whistleblowers are coming up missing and they're dying because they're exposing a global elite. Okay, which shows that they're going to come after us any minute because we are really exposing them and we're filtering through the Bible. Okay, Ecclesiastes 4:1, it says, so I return and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold the tears of such as were oppressed, and that's us. They had no comforter, because we have no comfort on this side outside of the Holy Spirit. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter, man. Okay, so Yahweh Shem Yahushua he gotta take these devils down, man. Because hey, if the Lord doesn't come back, no flesh will be saved. But anyway, with that, brothers, man, I'm gonna end it here, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Lord's will, you were edified into the next lesson. Shalom. And one more thing, if I can't upload this other video, I'll upload it to the other page and put both of these on another page, because this page is tripping right now, which I believe Esau is doing something, but we'll see. But with that, Shalom, Barakatham.